So right now, Washington is in the middle of a fight to create a spending agreement that would fund the government and avoid a government shutdown, which would be disastrous for Republicans. Now, Republicans, of course, want funding for a border wall as well as additional border security, and and they're not necessarily interested in making a deal on DACA. So Democrats, however, on the other hand, what they want is a clean bill for DACA as well as the funding of the government that does not include money for a wall. So now the fact that the Republicans need Democratic votes to keep the government open kind of plays into the advantage of the Democrats, who I think, in my opinion, are not going to be blamed for a government shutdown. In fact, there was an NBC News Wall Street Journal poll that kind of backs that up. This was done in mid-December, so the numbers have probably changed by now. But this poll found that 31% of respondents would blame congressional Republicans for a government shutdown, whereas 29% would blame congressional Democrats, and 18% would blame just Trump for a government shutdown. Well, that's interesting. Now, 62% in that same poll also found 62% support for extending DACA protections. So in that same poll. Now, knowing those two things, how more people would blame would blame Republicans and Democrats for a government shutdown, and that the position that the Democrats are taking, expanding the protections for DACA recipients, 800,000 Americans who were brought here, or people who were brought here to America without, I guess, their consent, because they were brought here as children, and giving them a pathway to citizenship. That's actually incredibly popular, right? So now this leads me to Morning Joe, of all places, who actually had some sound advice for the Democrats. Let's watch.
Republicans have a majority.
Republicans, you need to be better parents.
So if the government shuts down, I have no idea where that came from. That was just, hold on.
This president is a child.
Okay, so,
and running after him and sucking up to him at Mar-a-Lago is not going to help you. And I don't know if you were interested in perhaps going in there and seeing the spiral staircase and the little altar where you can have dinner and the piano and the gold and the mirrors on the wall. It's not worth it.
Okay,
you need to parent him. Don't show up. Tell him you're not going to show up until he shapes up.
Okay, so I love that, right? So here's Mika saying, oh, you got to parent him. He's a child. Well, actually, she would know. They both would know because, look, they used to be good friends of Donald Trump, right? And so they had been to Mar-a-Lago. So she explains, oh, we go there with the spiral staircase and the mirrors and the gold and all that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it going to Mar-a-Lago. Well, yeah, well, look what happened, right? You criticize Trump at all, and suddenly he's like, that she was bleeding badly from a facelift, and she wanted help. I said no. I said no. But wait a minute, what kind of person? First of all, she wasn't bleeding badly from a facelift. That's completely 100% false, but who would not help somebody who was bleeding badly? Again, Trump is a child, and again, they would know, right? So... And look, they both elevated Donald Trump. They were close to Donald Trump, and that's how they know. They both helped him with free media access, right? And that was, I guess that was part of the Clinton strategy is, hey, man, look, just let Trump go out there and give him all sorts of free media access on this advertising and elevate him up so we can knock him down. Okay. So anyway, that's her advice, right? Trump's a child. Parent him. Don't show up to the vote. Be tough. Be like a parent, right? Okay. So now let's go on to Joe's advice.
So, to finish what I was saying, Democrats, Republicans own Washington, D.C. You should not give them a single vote in keeping the government running. That's their job. This is their government. This is their Congress. This is their presidency. The American people said they wanted Republicans to run Washington, D.C. Let them run Washington, D.C. Don't give them a single vote unless they give you a clean bill on Dreamers. If you do, let me say again, you are too weak and too spineless
and too stupid
and too stupid when it comes to politics and too cowardly to be given control of Congress in 2018. Listen to the people in the streets. Listen to the people that knock on doors, that are going to be making phone calls for you in 2018. Don't do a deal with this guy. No DACA, no deal. It's that simple.
Damn, dude. Look, hey, when Joe's right, say what you want about him, but that's actually pretty sound advice. He's saying, look, don't do the deal. Don't be stupid, right? And you heard whoever that guy was off camera. He's like, and stupid. Don't be stupid or weak. Well, of course, unfortunately, that's Democrats for you. And look, I could be wrong, right? But yes, if the Republicans want to insist on throwing out hundreds of thousands, almost 800,000 people, right, who up until recently were legally able to work in America and pay taxes, which most of them did, or they get an education, then yes, government, the Democrats should make them own a government shutdown. But again, knowing the Democrats, I see them being weak and spineless and stupid and not taking Joe's advice, right? And look, and of course, they're not going to take his advice, not because he was a former Trump friend or because he's a Republican. No, they're not going to take his advice because, again, they are weak and spineless, and the Democrats will likely fold. And that's the problem with that, okay? I mean, the reason that I say that, too, and I'm a progressive. I want to see people, protected. I want to see the DACA recipients get a full pathway to citizenship. That's what they deserve. They've been here for their entire lives, and they've been working hard, and so they deserve that pathway to citizenship. But the deal that Trump rejected, by the way, so this was they had this bipartisan deal all set up, right? In it, the Democrats were willing to give them money on border security, according to the Washington Post. That deal would have offered Dreamers an eventual path to U.S. citizenship, which is great. That's a great part of the deal, but that should have been the only part of the deal. In return, they would get border security funding, including some that could be used on the wall. So they want to build this ridiculous wall. It would have given somewhere around $1.8 billion, a $1 billion down payment on that stupid fucking wall. The wall that we don't need, the wall that can be bypassed by tunnels and ladders or catapults. This wall that would serve no purpose and would cost about $18 billion. Democrats are like, okay, we'll give you the wall. We'll just give you funding on the wall. Okay, just please deal with us, right? Well, also in this deal, right, which was, again, terrible, right? It would end rules that allow Dreamers who become citizens to sponsor their parents for legal status in the United States. So you're ripping apart families. The deal would also curb a diversity lottery system that grants visas to 55,000 people from from countries with low immigration each year. So that was the bipartisan deal, right? That was not barbaric enough for Trump. Again, it ended the diversity lottery. It prevented people who were Dreamers from sponsoring their family, ripping families apart. And the only thing that it gave the Democrats was a deal for DACA, for these people to get a pathway to citizenship, which, again, a majority of people, 62%, according to that poll taken in December, I'm sure the numbers are probably higher by now, it has majority support. But no, this deal was not enough for Trump. He had to have more. Right? So they rejected that deal, and now we are heading towards a government shutdown. And look, knowing how bad Democrats are at negotiating, I wouldn't be surprised if they signed on to a more draconian deal, as long as it allowed at least the Dreamers to stay in. I would guess that they would probably either sign on to dropping the pathway to citizenship and just extending some protections for a limited time. That's my guess on that. And in return, Trump would get even more money to build the wall, because he said that is a precondition. We have to have a bigger wall. We have to have a bigger wall. We have got to get more funding for the wall, more funding for border security. That's what they're going to ask for. And it's likely, in my opinion, to see the Democrats sign on to something like that. Because, again, that's how they negotiate. I hope I'm wrong, but my cynicism has a basis in prior negotiation where, you know, Democrats have given Republicans 99% of what they've wanted. I mean, look, the Democrats, I mean, they want to say that they're the resistance, right? They're the resistance. There's something that I didn't cover that happened last week is that they signed on for more FISA, right? More spying on American citizens. Democrats signed on to that. So they're more than happy to be bipartisan when it comes to spying on Americans, right? But when it comes to resisting Trump to actually protect and try to get an actual good deal for the Dreamers, I don't think they're going to do it. So we'll see. But like Joe, I'm guessing that the Democrats are going to be weak, spineless, and yes, stupid. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.